What if the true origin of Western philosophy wasn't rational thought, but ritual, trance, and secret initiation? The forbidden teachings of the Orphics, philosophy's original cult. Long before Plato, before Aristotle, before Socrates stood in the agora asking dangerous questions, there was another kind of wisdom. One not taught in schools or written in dialogues. A hidden fire passed from soul to soul in whispered songs, sacred rites, and ecstatic death rituals. They called themselves the Orphics, named after Orpheus, the mythical poet who could bend the laws of nature with his voice. To the public, Orpheus was a musician, but to the initiates, he was something more, a metaphysical hacker, a mystic philosopher, the founder of the West's first underground cult of truth. And the teachings they passed down, you were never meant to hear them. Because they didn't teach obedience, they taught escape. Escape from the illusion, escape from the self, escape from the trap of reincarnation, identity, and time. In the myth, Orpheus descends into the underworld to retrieve his dead wife, Eurydice. He sings so beautifully that even Hades, god of death, weeps and grants him passage. But there's a condition. He must not look back. He does. He fails. Eurydice is lost forever. On the surface, it's a love story, but to the Orphics, it was an initiation map. The underworld was the unconscious. Eurydice was the soul. Orpheus's failure wasn't weakness. It was a warning. If you cling to what you love, you will remain in chains. The first lesson of the Orphic path: let go, even of heaven, even of salvation, even of the self who seeks. Where Plato hinted that the body was a temporary container, the Orphics declared it a cage. They believed the soul was divine, but trapped, fallen into matter, seduced by sensation, enslaved by instinct. Life as we know it wasn't a blessing, it was a punishment, a forgetting, a cosmic exile. And the only way out? Death before death. A ritual unbinding. A total philosophical and spiritual purification that shattered identity, memory, and attachment. They didn't just want to live well, they wanted to escape the wheel entirely. The body to the Orphics was not you, it was your sentence. The Orphic rites were not public, they were hidden, passed only to the initiated. And they weren't about worship, they were about transformation. Through chants, fasting, symbolic death, and dream manipulation, initiates entered altered states. They believed these states cracked the illusion of self and showed the soul its true nature. The goal was not happiness, it was liberation from becoming. Rituals included sacrifices of identity, not animals, ingesting symbols, gold leaves, sacred inscriptions, simulated death and rebirth through isolation and sleep deprivation. Mirror work, confronting the face behind the face. This terrified Greek society. Why? Because a citizen who no longer feared death could no longer be controlled. The Orphics rejected the common moral code. They didn't believe in ethics designed for obedience. They believed in purification through knowledge. The self was not to be obeyed. It was to be dissolved. Where Aristotle said, man is a political animal, the Orphics said, man is an exiled god. The state was not salvation, it was distraction. Politics was theater for the sleeping. Their philosophy was not logic, it was alchemy, it was metaphysical escape artistry. They believed the soul had forgotten its divine source, and that most philosophy merely reinforced the dream. Even reason was a veil. And Plato? He was their inheritor. Quietly, secretly, he embedded Orphic codes into his dialogues, especially in the myth of the cave, the tripartite soul, the recollection of knowledge. But he couldn't say it outright. The cult had been suppressed. So he encrypted it. For the Orphics, descent into darkness wasn't punishment, it was the path. Every life is a fall, every mind is born asleep. The world is a dream spun by titanic forces, and only by confronting the underworld of the psyche can the soul break the spell. This is why their rituals were intense. The initiate symbolically died, faced shadows, cut ties to family, name, history. They weren't interested in self-improvement. They wanted annihilation. Only then could the true self rise. The phrase they used, thanatos asphalis, a safe death. One that doesn't kill the body, but burns the ego to ash. Initiation meant going mad briefly, to exit the logical mind and feel what lies beyond it. The Orphics believed in reincarnation, but not as hope, as prison. The soul, they taught, returns again and again, not to learn, but because it forgets. It is pulled back by desire, fear, and unfinished karma. Every lifetime is another veil. Earth is not a school, it's a snare, a stage of distraction, and rebirth is the bait. The goal wasn't to do better next time. The goal was to break the wheel. Total escape, no return. This teaching was too radical for the public, too fatal to systems of power, because a soul no longer invested in this world cannot be bought. Unlike modern spirituality, the Orphics didn't preach love and light. They spoke of awakening through intensity. They believed that only the initiated, those who had died to the false self, were truly alive. Their code was simple: purify the body, empty the mind, face the underworld within, kill the false self. Remember who you were before the world named you. To be powerful in the Orphic sense is to be empty of programming, immune to illusion, and untouchable by fear. The Orphic cult was not destroyed by debate, it was erased by fear. Systems of control, religious, political, even philosophical, could not tolerate its central idea: freedom through death before death. Because every institution depends on fear of death, on investment in identity, on belief in the game, the Orphics tore the mask off the game. And for that they were buried. But fragments survived, in Plato, in Pythagoras, in the mystery schools of Eleusis, in Gnostic Gospels, in encrypted manuscripts hidden in monasteries. Now they resurface because the world is ready again. The Orphic path is not safe. It does not promise peace. It promises truth beyond personality. It demands the destruction of what you think you are. But what rises from that fire cannot be broken. If you've come this far, you are no longer merely watching, you are remembering. Like this video if it disturbed your sleep. Share it with a seeker ready to descend. Subscribe. Activate the bell. The next truth may be darker still. Comment below. What part of yourself are you willing to burn? You've heard the forbidden teachings of the Orphics. Now, what will you do with them? Enter the underworld or remain in the dream?